Good morning. This is Judy Gula from Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia. We're here with our Facebook Live on Saturday that we do every Saturday, and hope that you get the opportunity to join us. And if you don't, we do save the video on Facebook, and then we also actually post it on YouTube. So any of the ones that you've missed in the past, you're welcome to go look there, and some of the other class or ideas or demonstrations or things are all on our Artistic Artifacts YouTube video. So this morning we sell creative grids rulers. There's an amazing amount of rulers out there, and it's kind of one of those things that as a store owner I felt like, okay, we just need to pick one brand and try to stay with it. So what we have done with our creative grids is that we buy the rulers, but we're also supplying some patterns. Then, of course, we have fabric, just a little bit, for anything you want to do. So that to do on our website is to be able to have the rulers and have the patterns. We can set you up with fabric, we can set you up with thread. And so we're going to try and sprinkle some of these rulers in there. To help you maybe spark your creativity, give you an idea of trying something new. Well, and I can assure you, this is very new for me. Rulers are rarely new for me. But I had fun with it. I did enjoy it. So what we have here is some mangled packaging, because I've used them multiple times. So these are the Scrap Crazy rulers. Here, so there's an 8-inch with 3 cuts, 6-inch, it's got 5, and then another 8-inch here. All right, so what you're gonna find when you open these packages, all right, we'll start with this one. So you look at this, this is how many pieces you have, and this is a little, okay, let's see, hold on a sec. Because it's hard to see the rulers on white. So here's C, A, D. All right, so of course I started with the harder one first. Sorry about that, guys. So what you will see is we have 3 rulers here. They're marked C, A, B, and D. So not only do you see that it's C, but it's going to show you where you're going to use your C pieces. This is AB, and it's going to show you where you're using your AB pieces. D pieces. Okay. So the other thing, it always comes with instructions, and I know that Creative Grids is really great about having YouTubes back up their directions. So please check into that as well. So this is kind of that may have been instructions. I didn't read those, I just looked at the pictures. But over here, which I'm famous for, just looking at the pictures and not reading the directions. So, but over here, what this is telling you is if you want to use a 10-inch square, which there's lots of 10-inch pre-cuts out there, then this is how your layout's going to be. So I did use, one of my samples is working with 10-inch squares. Then the other part of the thing with it is that it'll give you yardage. So if you don't have a pre-cut, you have some yardage down here, and it gives you a layout. So they're aware of the fact that you want to get the most pieces out of your fabric that you possibly can. Okay, so that is the system for all 3 of these. So... and as I said, the pictures explain a lot of things because that's what you get. All right, so where to start? I think whenever I hear the word crazy quilt, I think of velvet, silks, vintage, hand stitching, beautiful embroideries, and so that's kind of what I think most of us think of as crazy quilts. So I went the opposite direction. I love that, don't mind me, and we're going to do a future Saturday morning using a few of our more traditional crazy quilt supplies, because we have those here too. but I did go towards what I would consider different types of fabrics. So let me show you some of my samples here, and then I'll show you how to use the rulers and how I did them. These, for some reason, I found that I had hankies that were kind of cut up already. So I used the Scrap Crazy number 6. So what I had to do was take the scrap pieces of fabric that I had and fit the templates on top of it. And they're clear, you can see through them, you can position them, you can, what everybody calls, I guess, is fussy cut. So that's what this ended up being. Now on this one, I have started with some machine stitching. I'm going to use machine pattern stitches, size 12 thread and size 50 thread from Wonderfill. So you will be able to see some differences in the stitching. So this whole piece is going to be machine stitched rather than hand stitched. Now, just as an aside, there's 2 ways of doing it. Hanky material is really thin. It was a little tricky to piece together, but I did it without any backing. But then after I had all of this sewn together and ironed, I actually put Misty Fuse on the back of it, and then I adhered it to a piece of muslin. So the muslin is going to give the hankies strength so that I actually can machine stitch through it. Now the other way I could have done it is I could have cut my pieces, muslin, Misty Fuse and muslin, and then sewed them together, but I went for the faster route. But it does need some stability. If I had just put the hankies onto the batting to do the machine stitching, I think I might not have hair left on my head. So anyway, so when you're using these lighter weight materials that are vintage especially, that's my recommendation, is that you use Misty Fuse and muslin to add some stability to it. Okay, so let's see, this one is this one. Can you see the pieces? And so I was able to really pick out the pieces of the hanky that I wanted, because I didn't want as much white, I wanted the pattern. So that's how the pieces fit together. And I just took pieces of my scraps and went, okay, what one is it gonna fit? How am I gonna do this? And that's what I did. So it was kind of fussy cutting. All right, any questions on this one? Everybody okay? All right, so then I have a scrap basket that are my precious fabrics. And my precious fabrics are my Indonesian fabrics, my Japanese fabrics, my African fabrics. You know, those are my, for me, what's precious. So there, I keep every single strip or scrap. I didn't ever get rid of any of those. So I had this basket and I took it out and I just looked for pieces that I felt were going to be large enough to be able to cut some pieces out of. So yeah, that made perfect sense. Let's see, this one. So these are, oh, thanks, Chris. So these would be absolutely awesome to do, as I said, with Japanese, with Aboriginal, African. So I just went through my scrap bin and went, okay, this piece is big enough for this one. So let's see, let me show you how I did it. So here's this one, and that went this way, and that went this way. This piece is here, and then it's over here. So you can see it has a double duty. And then this one is here. So I had 3 pieces, and I could stack some fabrics together to get some scrappy look to it. And I will tell you, I did not sit there and fret over how I put them together. Well, my only thing is I didn't want two pieces of the same fabric in the block. So as long as I could pick things out that were different types of fabric within that block, it was okay. So I did not stress about anything else. So let me just, so that is this one. But I love these. So you're gonna see these again because I'm gonna figure out something to create with them. And some more. But, you know, maybe it's gonna be a piece, I could use it as a border. So I could make my block here, cut it in half here, and then I have like a 4-inch border that could go around a batik panel. That would be absolutely great, and it would also be very scrappy. So this can be a starting point of giving you a different way of assembling your fabrics that if you want a scrappy look. So that's my idea there. So these, I love these fabrics. We have again, a lot of scrappy collage packs. We have a couple of, we like have an Indian scrap, a sari scrap, silk scrap, velvet. All of these things I think of would work for a more traditional crazy quilt. As well as we have this great pack that currently is on sale today for $9.99. It's normally, it's half off. And what that is it's 2 yards of the end of our bolts. That's why we don't have end of bolt sales, because we do this pack for you already. And it's curated together, so, and it gives you pieces that are less than 18, could be 2 inches, could be 17 inches, and they're 44 inches wide. So those are in the sales section right now, and they would be great for scrap quilts. Okay. So that one is here. Now I have to, this one is this. So we have these great zip bags that I kind of keep different projects together that we're working on. So that'd have all my pieces that I needed for that. Okay, this one behind me. This is Valori Wells' new collection, and I used every single piece of fabric out of this 10 by 10 quilt, layer cake. Never quite could figure out why they called it layer cake, but that's okay. So I did that, and I actually just started with a stack, broke the stack down so that I could cut it with my rotary cutter and move them around so that I could be able to get different fabrics in each block, because that's my only requirement. I did not want any duplicate fabrics in these blocks. All right, now we have another 10 by 10 that would work very well, is that we have Aboriginal 10 by 10s. So this is a 10-inch square, works really well with these rulers, and would give you a totally different feel from Valori Wells. So you have lots of options. Then the other thing to watch for is we have some great fat quarter bundles. We let the manufacturer cut fat quarters for us. So we have some bundles that are actually currently in the sales section that would make some beautiful quilts. And you know, Chris is like, oh, just use some red stitching in there, and it would be absolutely beautiful. So lots of ideas for that. All right, so now let me see if I can show you.
So Kathy Buck wants to know if those plastic project bags are on our website.
Yes, the plastic project bags are on our website, and I think we have a couple of different sizes. I have actually one size that I keep my rotary cutter my ruler and my mat in, as well as, and I actually do that in my studio. And then I have different projects. So when you don't just order one, order several, because I think I have 12 to 15 different projects where I start putting things in bags. That's my new studio rule, is trying to keep things a little better organized. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to show you. So this is just some batiks, and I'm going to kind of show you how I organized it, because of course my mind is so these were pieces that were some end of bolts and some scraps that we had from a different project or something. I can't remember. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so don't ask me, this is just how I do it. I can't give you a reason. So what I did was I picked a piece of fabric so I had one piece of fabric per pleat template. Okay, so I'm going to layer them. These are all cut 10 by 10, just because I wanted to show you how easy this is. Ha ha ha. Demo gods, I hope they're here. All right. Kind of close. Okay. So I have this awesome mat that moves, and I can tell you it earns every penny we charge for it. It's again, I thought it's a tool that I have become very familiar with and very comfortable with. All right. So here's the layout instructions for this one. And so what I would do, let me see if I can, okay, I'm kind of hard reading it upside down. So sorry, I have to turn it around. All right, A goes here, C goes here, B goes here. Okay, and I'm gonna have to, I'll turn this around for you guys so you can see. All right, so if this is a 10-inch square, and can you see how it's kind of lining itself up? So really what I can do is I can come here, and this makes it much more manageable to cut. All right, so all right, bear with me, I'm not speed cutter here. All right, there's one. And I keep the ruler with it. All right, now I'm doing B. Okay, stay with me. The ending is the best part, because I'll tell you how I get the variety. All right, so now I have two sides already cut here. It's so nice when a rotary cutter has a new blade in it. There we go. All right. So now I have my other half. And so, see, we have these. I know that this cut is a straight cut. So I'm gonna line up everything up here and here. All right. Just wanna make sure I don't cut anything too short. See, isn't this mat awesome? Really is really, really worth it. Right. So now I have two sides cut already. Some of you who have known me for a really long time have never seen me so precise in my entire life, have you? All right, so now I have to put it back together. Do it my way first. T, B, C, here, here. Yeah, it is. It's like a puzzle. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad they give you a map. Okay, so I have cut all of my pieces here. Now, I know those of you guys who have done stack and wax, you'll know this method very quickly. First one. Second one, I take two, put it to the back. Third one, I take three, put it to the back. Fourth one, I take four. Right? That's how I get the difference in fabrics. Okay? Now, right away, I would go, I don't know about that one, so maybe, yeah, well, it's staying that way. So maybe I can move this one. But I really pretty much don't. I just start, so then I'll start chain stitching, where I'll sew these two seams together, and then I'll sew these seams together, then I'll iron each piece here and here, and then I'll stitch this line here. And because I'm not trying to place the fabrics to create a pattern, I'm just sewing, so that makes the chain stitching really easy. Now, I happen to know we did this with the Free Spirit. So once, and I didn't realize this until we started putting it up here, I could get a star. So say I wanted to predict that star, I could use A, and I could cut this out of all of the same fabric if I wanted. Here, 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 and let the rest of it be scrappy. So I tend to have this thing about stars. I kind of like them. So that's an idea as we were hanging this up last night, I went, oh, that could be part of a plan. And I have great admiration for those of you who can put together these big quilts and have them look like huge stars, New York beauties, all of that stuff, because this is about the extent of my planning ability, is I can say, okay, we can do this. All right? So are there questions about how I cut with the templates? It's really easy. So these were with traditional fabrics. Totally went, so I have to figure out, am I going to put sashing in here? Am I going to sew them together as a block? Or 4 pieces going to be a block? So I haven't decided that yet. It can go a lot of different ways, but I do have my blocks done. And this is every piece. I have 2 pieces left over. The whole entire 10 by 10 package is up here. I did not take out any pieces of fabric. I used them all. So to me, these are non-traditional scrappy quilts that are based off of a crazy quilt pattern. The idea of using those pieces. Has everybody tried this before? Have you done this with crazy quilting with not velvet but cottons and things? Okay.
So are there 42 fabrics in the pack? You ended up with 40 blocks on the wall.
42 pieces
Yes.
in the Valori Wells Enchanted pack.
Okay. Because you have, your quilt is 40 blocks.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't count how many.
No, I just did.
Chris counted. All right. So here is the challenge for me. I actually am going on vacation next week. Chris will be here to show you. We're going to have our last installation of our holiday gifts. Introduce our Christmas stockings. Because the last couple of years we've used our Christmas stockings stuffed with gifts to raise money for a worthy charity. We plan to do that again this year as well. So she's going to show you all the stockings that we've done and a couple of other holiday surprises that she's been working on. So Chris is going to take care of the Facebook Live for next week. So then my next Facebook Live is going to be using these same templates, but I'm going to use what I consider more traditional crazy blocks ideas. Okay, so we have this package that's just all silks. So if you look in assorted fabric bags, you will find a treasure trove of items. So as we said, this is all silks. This is the Asian pack is the one that we showed you. But we also have trim packs too. So I think using the trims would be really pretty awesome as well. We have velvet packs. And there's just a mixture of velvets in there. And we have sari, saris are mostly silk. There's a whole lot of fabric assorted packs that we give you little bits and pieces of. There's woven pack. So there's lots of opportunity for that. We also have these fabulously hand-dyed from India cotton packs, but they're hand-dyed. And this would be a great surface for some beautiful hand stitching. I mean, we have these great packs that come in solids and variegateds, pearl cottons. There's also size 12 sewing thread you can use. We have sequins and beads. All of these things I think are, I think of as being traditional. Now, one of the things I want to tell you, this needle was in here as a reminder. So I normally sew my embellishments with a 90 needle. I have the big pack of 90s. So I was using the Wonderful 12 thread on my hanky quilt to do some stitches, and I had a little bit of thread shredding. So what that was telling me was I had the wrong needle in my machine, so I need to go up to 100, and then it's going to not put the stress on the thread. So watch for these little hints when your tools are trying to tell you, maybe I'm not the right one for what I'm trying to do. So that was a little reminder. 12 weight, Wonderful thread, use 100. We have velvet threads. Wouldn't these be great to have a pattern machine stitched over or hand stitched? We have leaves in every color you can imagine. Some more velvet. We do have a little bit of velvet rickrack, but I think that they discontinued that. Okay, so lots of things. Now here, Chris has done, this is one of our Christmas stockings. You used the 6-inch one, right, Chris? Yes. So this is the 6-inch. You can see the pieces here. Now, she took Glamour and hand stitched. And there's a little bit of cotton. Isn't that wonderful? great, light, nice sparkle, wonderful holiday fabrics that have just shown all her hand stitching. All right. So there's also the Glamour thread you can buy by the spool, or we have these holiday packs. There are many books, from small hand-carried books to larger books for inspiration and working with hand stitching, especially over edges or over seams, which to me is traditionally a crazy quilt, is to be doing them over seams. So lots of things. So maybe you guys want to try your hand at working with these crazy rulers. We do have them in stock. We do have them online for you in our Creative Grid section. And meet back, visit with Chris next Saturday, but 2 weeks from now, we'll work with some of the traditional, what I consider more traditional crazy quilts. Any questions? Any takers? Gonna take the challenge? All right. We get lots of emails that say that people really appreciate our lives. We appreciate you. It helps us keep going as well. And in this world today, to know and touch base and feel fabric and be creative. And we hope that you get all of that. Please join us on Facebook, our lives, but we also have Artistic Artifacts Creative Minds is on a Facebook group. You're welcome to join, and we'd love to see what you make with our products and post them. We do have a Thursday night, the third Thursday sale. We do have a little bit left over from that, so we did leave the video up. And if you have some items that you're interested in, just email us at sales@artisticartifacts.com to see if they're still available. That's one way of doing it. And make sure that you're on our newsletter. You receive our newsletter every Wednesday. That's where we updates and community information and events that are occurring. We have an event in September, an event in October that will be located at our store. Can't think of anything else that I have at the top of my head. No? All right. I think those are all the updates. Thanks for joining us today, and enjoy your day.